I want to talk about the fact that where the audience really connected with you is that you were fun and funny, but also real, and you shared deeply personal things about your family, about your upbringing, and also about your fertility journey
Yeah.
and freezing your eggs. Talk about sharing that, what that's meant to you.
Yeah. So I think how I left it in season 14 was that I was sharing like I was going to have a hot girl summer and then a frigid fall because I was going to freeze my eggs. And I was going to do it in Switzerland because I had heard of a really amazing clinic that a girlfriend had gone to that had like these German doctors that were like, we get all the eggs, no worries. Like, what about bloat? And they're like, what's American bloat? So I was turned on by like, okay, doing it somewhere in Europe. And then I just opted for London because I have so many friends there. And London feels like New York. I know the neighborhoods. I know the tube. Like I have a gazillion friends there. So yeah, so I did it there. And it's something that I've put off for a really long time because I think it was never, thankfully, about like, something like medical or cost or something. It was about every time I'd go into the meeting, I'd be like, what did like all my life decisions that I have to do? Like never when I was a little girl, like it was first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby and baby carriage. It wasn't like, oh, then you're going to go to a clinic and like they're going to put shit up you and you're going to freeze your eggs. Like that wasn't, I just kept thinking, why am I here? I thought I was going to have a kid when I was 27.
But isn't it also empowering, Brynn?
It is. And it's empowering and it's also freeing to think that like now this whole thing, like there is a biological clock. Like I'm very independent and modern and all these things, but realistically, like the human body is a human body and that's anatomy. And there's certain things that are out of my control. And so I would be thinking too in the past 3 years of dating, sometimes I think I was a little bit or a lot harsh to be like, in the first date to be like, is this guy going to make a good father? I don't know. Next, but now I can go back to let's move in together and then break up and then separate our DVDs. Like I feel now like I have more time. The commitment phobia me is very excited that I froze my eggs. No, but I did it and it was, and I shared it on social media and I've never had aside from the hair store, so many people reach out, not just about egg freezing, but fertility is like this massive thing, whether you're single or you're married and people sharing their stories about their journey in different rounds and giving me, like tips and things of what to do. And it was a relief. And I'm just glad I got 15 eggs. Some of them were scrambled. Some of them were sunny side up, soft, hard boiled. Yeah, I have an omelet chef now. Eggs Francais, Countess Luann. No, but I have 15, and that's a good number. I might do it again once we're done filming. I might start at the end of when we're filming. Like, it's not that hard of a process, but it's just kind of a lot. So I want to give my body a little bit of a rest, but maybe I'll do a second round in the summer. We'll see.
This is one of the reasons why I love our jobs. You've experienced this on all of the shows that you oversee too, how the audience connects to something like this, such a personal story, and they feel represented, they feel seen and heard. And we also give a lot of hope, I think, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, our different cast members on different shows have overcome so much and have done it so very publicly. So to hear someone like Brynn talk about her challenges and, how beautifully like she's dealing with it and handling it, I think probably gives hope to a lot of other women out there.
So I think that's what's super relatable too about our group is that we're all so diverse and we all have such incredible stories, but yet so similar in so many ways. And I think people just... There's a connection point, I think, emotionally for everyone when it comes to our group.
But what I think it does have a lot to do with you is the fact that you make yourself that vulnerable to share it that completely. Because I've always said too, like, the thing that the audience can't stand more than anything else is feeling like someone isn't being open with them.
Well, again, so I watch. I think a lot of people are like, oh no, I don't watch reality TV. No, but I watched. And I would watch on The Bachelor and you can tell.
Yeah.
So when I went into this, I knew there's two ways. First of all, being fake is exhausting. Like I can be fake for certain periods of time or in a meeting, but then I'm like, get me out of here. I'm like, if I'm actually going to do this, I can't be fake because it will come out, which it does come out. I'm like, this fucking sucks. I don't like X, Y, and Z. But I knew that I couldn't fake it. And I can always tell when people are faking it. So it's like, and I thought if this goes well, it's going to be a lot easier to sustain it if I can just like be myself. And I think because I watched it, you can always tell.
Always.
You can tell, and it's awkward and it's cringy to watch it on, especially watching somewhere else like, oh my God, she's being so fake. Or, she's just here because she wants to get followers or something. Or like, you can tell. So I was like, good, the bad, the ugly, just be yourself. And when people say how like, oh, how did it go? And I just it's crazy because it's the exact opposite, right? You have a camera in your face and you're like, this is weird, or how am I going to be perceived? And like, we're trained to like care about what other people think of us. But if you can but I think that's life, jobs, work. Actually, a secret is like, if you're just yourself, whoever that may be, even the parts of you don't like, but just be yourself, and it actually will turn out semi-okay.
The more honest and open you are, the more the audience is going to connect with you. I think we've seen that happen time and time again. And when cast members are going through like real life, real shit issues, and they're hesitant about putting it on camera, we always say to them, do it. Be open, own your story. Let it come from you. And if you make yourself vulnerable, everybody goes through shit. The audience knows that. But if you do it in a way where you're being real, you're not trying to, because if you try to cover it up, the camera's always
they pick it up all the time, and it doesn't. And you're right.
Exactly.
The more you try to control it, then the worse it will be, the less control actually that you have.
But it's so counterintuitive. It's like taking a drug. You know, you're like, don't fight the cannabis. You know, you're like, don't freak out. You're like, you just got to relax into it and it's a great ride. But you fight it though. And it's very, it's like
a suppository.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a suppository. Yeah. But you just have to but it's the exact opposite. Every fiber of your being is telling you not to do that. Don't do it. Don't be trust. Like, you know, it's the exact, it's a mental, it's a trip. It's very trippy.
Well, and now you fully appreciate it. Going back to your saying that having been through the first season and realizing that production is not out to screw you over and there aren't any tricks, you realize that, to your point, it really is a metaphor for life. It just comes down to you.
Yeah, it's all about you. And also now it's like game on, baby, because now it's like I'm gonna it's now because, and it makes sense too. Again, even if like the goal was manipulation, like it actually like it can't be that, because like us trusting them is what makes the show great. So even if they didn't, like, nobody wanted to, that's intrinsically like they want our trust, right? And they're not going to abuse that trust, because had they abused it or did something with like my child, I would have just like went to the press, went on social media, posted a thing, thrown them under the bus. Like, we live in this world now with like, there literally can't be any doctoring or anything, right? Like, it's literally impossible.
We had been interviewing potential cast members for season 15 of Real Housewives of New York, and a lot of high caliber women have come in and spoken to us, and the question is always like, are you going to make me look crazy? Are you going to and you know,
are you crazy? That's what it is.
Are you going to make you
look
look
crazy? Then it's good. That's all it works.
But also what I was telling them is, you know, we don't ever want to cast anyone for one season.
Yeah.
We want to be in relationship with you for a long time. Look at you and Kyle Richards, for example. Vicky Gunvalson, you know, Jax. Like, we want to be in business for a long time. So why would we want to screw you over? Why would we want to make you look something that you're not? First of all, we can't do that anyway. That's a whole other explanation.
Yeah. Also, you know, to your point, it's really bad business that way. And there is no one moment that is worth sacrificing a relationship for.
No.
But it's how companies work. Like, I have never in all my jobs hired someone thinking, let's hire this person so that in 1 year, 3, like, screw them over, not set them up for success. And you burn through money. HR, like, that's HR 101. You don't even do that. Like, you get people who you want that employee to be here for 30 years. You want to have them, you know,
you want to build something together.
You want to build something together and make something great. And like, it's just like corporate, like, turnover is not a good thing.
No.
You know, and it doesn't make business sense. So it makes sense to just be like, have these be real relationships, have it be trustworthy, feel like we can be there for them, so that we want to stay and we keep opening up and showing you our lives and our world. Like, it just makes sense. I don't understand how people are like, they're doing this to me. No, honey, no one's doing anything to you.
Yeah, well, I think it all, just like you're saying, it comes down to the same thing, which is that it can be hard to see yourself on television and maybe see something that you don't like.
What you just said earlier, it all comes down to you, what you said. And that's the problem, I think, for a lot of people is, oh, if this all comes down to me, it doesn't make me look great. So who can we point the finger to? It must be the producers. It must be the editors. They're out to get me. It's like, no, we never have an agenda.
I can't stand that when I read stuff about, like, Bravo NBC or like the production company, and I've had to like keep my mouth closed because I'm like, which I've wrote them notes that I'm like, you can screenshot this because I have a whole thing. I can take it down. I have like a stand on a soapbox. I can take you down in 1 second, and I can prove to you that's not the case. Like it's not. They don't do any of that, and it's complete bullshit.
Aw,
like it actually
thank you,
really
Brynn.
pisses me off. And I texted Lisa too, and like it makes me so mad because the extent to which they care and love us and like when I was sharing like what you guys did for me, I've never in my life had felt so like, again, I thought like these people, it's a corporate, like felt so loved in my time and safe.
You are.
I know, but it's safe. Like no one's managed to do that in my life. And it's weird to say that Bravo company, like a television, but they did. And I have a good head on my shoulder. They're not delusional thinking I can trust people that I can't. No, these people, they're good people. And it's so unfortunate then when I see people that just they're not in their own good place, but then to place blame, like that's not fair. Like just take ownership and be like, hey, and I think the fans would forgive you if you're like, I really didn't like that version of myself. I was a fucking mess and that was that. Guess what? Realize, and then people would embrace you. But when you keep trying to like take out people who never did anything, but were good to you and held your damn hand, like that really, really aggravates me.
Well, it's so cynical and disingenuous and hypocritical and some things. And I love the fact that I don't, mean to keep referencing BravoCon, but I can't help it. But I just love the triumph of that moment and how that vanquished any efforts to try to.
Well, exactly.
Like, so I just that's what I think.
Nobody did anything wrong to you. And had you got asked back to do something, you wouldn't be complaining about anything. It's complete and utter bullshit.
Oh, it drives me. I mean, someone is just demonstrative, but at this point, it's just spitting into the wind. It doesn't matter.
Well, yes, and it's just a bad look. Like, go to Bali, go to a silent retreat. I did do some work on yourself, and like stop blaming people for your own. Like the amount of resources, the amount of things that it's so uncalled for. It's literally. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
Head over to bravotv.com/podcast to catch us clearing up some of the biggest reality TV production rumors and having a little fun along the way.